All right. We here at Black Half Blind Billionaire. I am excited. I got my brother over here. He blessed me with the permission to do a podcast with him. I knew this brother for quite a while. I knew of him, and days growing up in Astoria, we every now and then we would go to Corona, where he's from. And there was a well-known church there. I don't know the church name, and if I did, I wouldn't even say it. But there was a singer there at the church at the time named Desiree Washington. If y'all know anything about Broadway, she was the first girl of Mama I Want to Sing. Well, I said all that to say that the church was packed. And I was introduced to him very early, right, in the 80s. But I spoke to him recently, and we spoke about his endeavors, his triumphs, and his mishaps. And he was gracious enough to give us his time on his podcast. So I am definitely excited to introduce my brother from another mother, Mr. Bernard King, but his real name is Shaborn the God. Let's give it up for Shaborn the God. What's up, Shaborn? How you doing today, brother?
All is well, man. Thanks for
Well,
the invite on the podcast.
yeah, man. We doing the Zoom because you in Belize right now. I believe Belpond is the capital city. Help me out on that one.
Yeah, Belmopan.
Belmopan. There it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you lived there. You left there at the age of 2, right?
right.
Growing up in Corona, Queens. Talk to me about that in the 90s.
Well,
No, in the 80s.
Corona,
Yeah.
80s. Yeah, Corona was like a peaceful place. We used to be outside and got the fire hydrant going and just hanging out. Summertime. You have your little summer job. You wait for school to open so you can go back with all the fresh gears and all that.
Right.
That was
Right. Yeah.
just the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
80s. So then things started changing.
Mm,
Things started changing, and guys started getting introduced to the streets. At a
mm.
young age. And I was one of them. What I'm saying.
Right. Right.
Once you get introduced to the streets, and you start feeling some real money in your pocket. It's no turning back.
So when was this around? When you
This
actually
this
started gag
I
in the
was I
game?
would say like around 84, 85.
Okay, that's when you started in the game. And what we're talking about the street
Yeah,
pharmaceutical.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
definitely there. Yeah,
pharmacists, street pharmacists. All right, so starting in the mid '80s, you get started in the game, right?
yeah.
Now, now you did very very well, right? From what I understand, right? From my memories, right? Growing up, hearing about you. Um, how did Virginia happen? Let's talk about Virginia.
Well, I went to Virginia only to get a driver's license because you get it in
Mm,
one day. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
So, in New York, you got to go to driving school. You got to do this. You got to do that. It was too much. And when you're in the
Mm,
street, you're looking for any kind of shortcut.
right,
And
right, right.
Virginia was a shortcut for me to get a driver's license. And I was always like, I'm not gonna say smart, but I was always like ahead of the game because I said if I don't have a driver's license, it gives the police officers every right to take me out the car, search the car, and everything else. So with a driver's license,
Mm,
I narrow down that scenario in my life. Like I give them my license, my registration, my insurance, and I keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So that
right.
was the reason to go to Virginia just to get a driver's license. But I met a girl. I met a girl down
Mm,
there, and then
that
she was
usually
like,
does it.
"Oh, what you doing in New York and this and that." It's always the girls.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
back in the days, you can brag about getting money. And I
yeah,
told her, I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I get money. And she was like, "Oh, I know a place where you can get some money." And that was it. That was
Mm,
it. And every time you hear about a new place out of town is a gold mine. So I just took
right,
that and
right,
ran with it.
right, right. I'm gonna ask you this question because I'm getting some disturbance over here. I'm trying to hide in a different room, but of course, uh, my son is coming down here with the iPad, so hopefully you guys can't hear him because I got on my AirPod. All right, so let's talk about Virginia. So you got with the girl in Virginia. So now you're in VA, right? You you
Yeah.
uh you in the game. You're making some money. Um, and No mishap so far, right?
No mishaps.
Then what happened? Tell me about when you got jammed up. What did they do? How the arrest, the indictment, and the conviction. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, when you're out of town, a lot of things happen. A lot of people lose their life. A lot of people go to prison. That's what out of
Right.
town brings. So especially to New Yorkers. So things happen, and I got jammed up with some dudes or whatever. And me not understanding how the feds work because we talking about mid 90s now. You know, so I'm saying in my head, the feds didn't catch me with nothing. Why my name in the newspaper under indictment? So
Mm,
I jet anyway. I leave Virginia and I go back home. I go back to New York. So somebody bring me the newspaper clipping with my name and about 30, 40 other names on there. I don't really remember the number. And I'm saying, all
wow.
right, that's Virginia. They're not gonna come all the way to New York to look for me. But again, me not understanding the feds, they go wherever they want to go and they go get whoever they want to go get.
All right, let me
So
stop you right there. Let me
uh-huh.
stop you because because I got a little confused. So your name, your name was in the paper in Virginia. Can you guys
Yeah.
see me well? All right, because somebody's trying to get in there or whatever. Nobody's caring. So in Virginia, your name is in the paper. You got an indictment in the paper, and you go to New York thinking
That's
that
up to,
the
yeah.
feds could not catch up to you.
Right.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
And it was one day before my birthday, April 17th, 1995. And that's when they came in my mom's crib. You know what I'm saying? So, they that's when they took me. They took me back to Virginia,
Mm,
to
okay,
face the
okay.
charges. To face the charges.
So they snatched you up out of New York and brought you down to
And
Virginia.
brought me back down there.
Oh wow, wow, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's what they do.
how how did they know you was in New York? I guess somebody had to say something, right?
Well, the feds is all over the place, man. And once they put your picture up as wanted, I mean, and then they know the address, they know this, they know everything. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right, right, right.
really no secrets with them.
Okay. So now you get arrested. You are faced with some charges. What were you indicted for, and then what happened?
I was indicted for 2 counts. First count, conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine, and the second count was forfeiture.
Mm. And forfeiture is what?
Forfeiture is when they want to take your property. Whatever you own, they want to take
Oh,
that
okay.
because they say that you
Mm.
bought that with proceeds from the drug dealing.
Got you, got you, got you. All right. All right. So you get indicted. You go to you took it to trial. Did they give you an option not to take it to trial?
Yeah, yeah. They gave me the option. They say take 15 years and tell on everybody.
Oh, got it, got it. They wanted you to start singing. They
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
you to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
rap,
Yeah, definitely.
and you're not built. You're not built like that.
Nah,
Okay,
nah, nah.
so now that you didn't sing, so you took it to trial, and
I took it to trial.
you knew you was facing life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
Wow, wow. I got to tell you, boy, those take balls of gorillas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, because you're fairly young, you're not even 30 yet.
Nah, nah, I'm young. I'm in my mid 20s.
Yeah. So you're still a baby. Okay. So now you're going to trial, um, and you go to trial, and then you get found guilty, right?
Right.
Of both charges or just
Just
charges? You
one.
got
Just
found,
just a conspiracy. Just a conspiracy charge. They dropped the
yeah,
forfeiture
and
charge.
Right, because I got a boy that got caught with the feds. He said once some conspiracy charge, it's hard to not prove it guilty because
Right.
conspiracy is so like broad. You know what I mean?
It's broad. Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
okay, because I you're doing you so now you get convicted, you get found guilty, you're facing life in prison, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that, but I want to say this because whenever I do these podcasts, whenever I talk to my guests, 99% of the time I ask them, what's your what's your what's your positive and what's your negative? What's your everybody has their pros and cons, right? Like I
Yeah.
and usually it's the same thing. Like I love to talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's a positive because I have no problem talking in front of people, even if the
Right.
crowd is a million people. But my con is I love to talk, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to shut up. But what I notice about you is I don't need that question because I can see after doing the time that you did that there's been no change. Like when we're on the phone, we're not talking this. We're talking jokes. Like I just told you a
Yeah.
joke the other day, right?
Yeah.
It's like you've never been in prison. And you said it to me before that you've heard that before. So tell me about that. How did you keep your cool and you wasn't what they call institutionalized?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I went to prison without a high school diploma,
Got it.
right? So, you have to educate yourself, and that's what I did. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I went back. I got my high school diploma. I went to college, and I started doing programs. A lot of people say that they can't believe I did the amount of time that I did, and you didn't ask me how much time I did yet, so I'm gonna leave that open. You know, but
yeah, yeah.
it's because I kept myself busy, and my support system when I was away was strong. Like I mean, I didn't go years without seeing my family. I mean, they was there back to back,
Mm,
week after week, and stuff
that's
like that.
important.
So yeah,
Yep.
that support played a big role.
Yep.
And a lot of people, they always claim that, oh, I changed, but you can't tell a man that you changed. They have to tell you. And my family
Mm,
started telling me that, man, you changed, you different now, and it's because I'm educating myself, bro. And
right, right.
and that makes you feel good when your family is telling you, man, you talking different now, you changed, and that makes
Mm,
you want to change even more. It's like eating a cake that you love. Like a fat kid love cake. He's gonna eat the
right,
cake.
right, right.
I was eating up knowledge in prison. I was eating up education in
Nice.
prison. I was eating up programs in prison. You know what I'm saying? And those are the
Mm,
things that got me out. You're gonna get to those questions in a minute, but those are the things that got me out.
right,
You
right.
know,
It's funny you say that because you said you love the fact that you was getting better knowledge wise and you was eating it up, and I love that. And guys, we're not going to break like we usually do. I'm gonna keep on going through because I'm loving this conversation, and as you can see, it's different than the podcast I have because this is my brother right here, and like I said, I'm truly blessed to be on the phone with this dude. All right, so let's talk about it. You go to jail in 1994, right? You're facing life without the possibility of parole. But from what I understand, I want you to explain it to me. I'm going to try to say the truth, and you tell me the exact truth. You got pardoned. You was Barack Obama, the United States president at the time, tried to pardon you, and they knocked it down. They wouldn't let him do it,
right, right.
right? So you go ahead from there. You tell me what happened from there.
Okay, well, first I want to go back real quick with all
Okay,
the
good.
education, and stuff that I was doing. I was doing all that stuff with a life sentence,
Mm,
without the possibility of parole. So
right.
right
That's
there,
the
I,
tough
I
part.
I consider myself not being regular. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing
Mm-hmm. Yep.
all that.
Yep.
I'm doing all that with no incentive at the end, because I never. First of all, I never thought that I was going to be there forever anyway. But that was a sentence that I was living out. Life without
Nice.
parole, and I refused to
I
to
love
to
that.
live in prison for the rest of my life. Now, they knocked down President Obama. I put in for clemency. They knocked it down,
Right.
and then they signed the President Trump signed the First Step Act, right?
Mm.
So when he signed the First
Right.
Step
Because that
Act,
was your first. That was your first crime, right? That was the first time you ever been convicted, correct?
well, second time. The first one was like a misdemeanor, right? So
So
when
first
he
felony.
when
That's crazy that they
yeah,
gave you life.
felony, right?
But go
When
ahead. I'm
when
sorry.
when when he signed the bill, it fits me like a
Hmm.
glove. So right when he signed the bill,
Right.
I watched CNN for 2 years, from 2016 to 2018. I watched CNN, and the day he signed that bill, I said, "Yeah, I'm out," because I was watching because they was talking about it so long that they're going to sign this First
Right.
Step Act, and I know it fits me because you know, I'm a nonviolent offender.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when he signed it, I started putting the motion in, and I'm going hard now because I know I'm going home. You can't tell me I'm not going home. So one
Right.
day, 2019, one day before Thanksgiving, I go to the computer and I say, let me see what's going on with my family. Wish them a happy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow,
Hmm.
whatever, just in
Right.
case they're
Right.
busy.
Right.
I see an email from my lawyer, right? I said, oh, she must be wishing me a happy Thanksgiving. So
Right.
when I
Right.
open the email, I see congratulations in big bold letters. I said, congratulations. So now I'm reading, and she was
Mm.
telling me they just took the life sentence off you, and they gave you 35 years. So I sat there because I was stunned. I was so used to getting bad news, I couldn't believe that I was actually seeing
Right.
good news. You know what I'm saying? So I sat there.
Right.
I sat there for about 15, 20 minutes, just sat in the chair in front of the computer, not doing nothing because I'm stuck. I can't believe it. Right? So I called
I would have
somebody
been
over there.
crying, crying
I
for
said,
joy.
yo, I said, listen, I said, yo, read this for me. So when he read it, he jumped up and he was like, yo, Shaw's going home. Shaw's going home. And that's when it hit me. You know what I'm saying? That's when it hit me. And I'm like, damn,
Mm.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And
Wow.
by that time, I had 25 years in. I was living with a life sentence for 25 years already. You know what I'm saying? So I said, all
Right.
right,
Right.
good. I'm
Right.
going home, man. I'm going home. And I couldn't believe it. I was scared to
Right.
call my daughters. I was scared to deliver the good news because I'm so used to delivering bad news.
And by
You
the
know what
way,
I'm saying?
guys, he has two twin, beautiful daughters. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I said, I got to call. So when I called, my daughter was like, yes, yes. She checked the computer. You know what I'm saying? So when she checked the computer, she couldn't believe it. She just started crying and all
Right.
that
Right.
stuff. So it hit me. It finally hit me and shit. So I said yes. And I started because I pray even when I'm not in trouble. I just pray and thank God for a new
Right.
day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
anyway, we went on, and then they moved me. The counselor came to my room and said, "Listen, your time been cut. You don't really have no time. You can't be in this place no more. Find somewhere to go, or I'm gonna have to move you." So I said, "Man, I'm tired of being in the
Mm.
cold. I'm going to Miami." And they put in my transfer to go to Miami, and I spent another 2.5 years in Miami, and then I went to immigration, and then I got deported back to Belize. So
Okay.
the,
Right.
the
Because
the
that was
whole
part
thing
of the
just
agreement that you had to be
yeah,
deported.
yeah. I had
Yeah.
to
I'm
I
sorry.
had to get deported. I had to get deported, but which is all right because I used to pray. This is no lie. I used to pray, and I used to ask God, say, God, don't let me out this place until you know I'm ready. And that's hard when you're living with a life sentence and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I want to leave. I wanted to leave prison ready. I wanted to
Okay.
leave prison ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was ready. I was ready when I
Yes.
left. I
Yes.
was ready when I left.
Hey, Shop. Real quick, because um, you're very much into working out, getting physical training. I have even taken advice from you a couple of times when it comes to working out. Would you say that was part of your growth, part of your meditation, working out, besides
Yeah,
just getting educated, right?
yeah, definitely. You have to work out the mind and the body.
Right,
Because you can't work out your mind and sitting there eating 3, 4 bags of chips all day. That's not going to work. You got
right,
to work
right.
the body and the mind because they go hand in hand.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
That
go
was a
hand in
jewel
hand,
right
bro.
there.
Yeah,
All right, so let's
definitely.
let's talk about it. So let's talk about Belize because you left there when you was 2 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You left there when you was 2 years old because, and the reason why I wanted to not have a break, I wanted to not have a break. I wanted to go straight through because I really wanted to talk to you. I wanted to get to this question.
yeah,
You left there when you was 2 years old. Now you're in Belize. It's pretty much a foreign country, right? How are you adjusting to Belize? I know the weather's beautiful, the women are beautiful, but in your home, right? You're
yeah,
outside,
yeah,
but still, how are you adjusting to Belize? And I think English is their national language, I believe, native
yeah.
language, right? But still, how are you adjusting to Belize? Talk about
All
it.
right. Well, I'm adjusting to Belize very well, right? I really want to put this out there before the podcast is over.
Mhm.
Everything that I've learned in my life, I ask God to put in front of me so I can use it, right?
Right,
Now,
right.
I got a job. I got a job now. This is the first job of my life, right? I am a
Crazy.
I am a rehabilitation director in the prison, bro. In the prison. I
That's
work in the prison now.
crazy.
I work in the prison. Yeah, yeah,
But you know what? You probably the best one there now, because
yeah.
guess
Well,
what? The best,
they
yeah,
love
you
me
know what
over
I
there,
mean.
man. They love me over there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it feels good going there and helping those guys, and it feels even better that I can leave every day. And it's just
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes it feels like a dream. Sometimes it feels like a dream. But it's not a
right,
dream. It's reality.
right.
It's reality. And I work to get where I'm at today. I work all my education,
Because
everything that I did in the
right,
past is paying off today. Everything.
right, because now you can contribute. Right now you give back. Right,
Yeah, yeah,
because when I was at work for Verizon as a tech, we used to love when the supervisor used to be a tech because they kind
yeah.
of understand your story, right?
Right, right.
So I know that not, where you're at now is beautiful because I mean the prison ain't beautiful and the rehab ain't beautiful, but it's beautiful that you're there in a position to help others,
Yeah,
right?
definitely, definitely. It's a good feeling. Listen, I never loved going to prison this much that I do every morning, Monday to Friday. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
That's a
when
bar,
when you
right?
when you're doing something good, it makes you feel good because the reward for good is good. The
Right.
reward for good is not on a pat on the back. The reward for good is good. So and I
Yes.
live by that, man. I do things to do it. I don't do things for no accolades or none of that. I don't do that. I do it because
Right.
I do it.
Right.
I
Right.
do it
Right.
because I do it.
That's the best thing. When you're looking for a reward, it never comes.
It never
Just
comes.
do it because you
And
want to
I
do it.
just I just I
Right.
just want the world to know because I hope the world get to see this video,
They
right?
will.
This podcast. I did
They will.
29 years. I did 29 years in prison. 29. I went to prison April 1995 and I came out April 2024. Straight,
Beautiful, man.
straight,
Wow. And never
straight.
tattletaling.
And
Never telling.
none of that. None of that.
Whenever you talk to someone, and you mention your name, it's like, yo, he's always solid. That's your description that everyone has for you.
Yeah,
That's
I
a solid
appreciate that.
brother right there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Because it's funny because growing up in the hood as a black man in America, of course, we've all known people that have been jammed up, and I'm telling you, you're one of only a few that I know that's been in jail for a while, and it doesn't seem like you've been institutionalized, and I know you haven't. Not
Right,
doesn't
right.
seem you haven't been institutionalized. So I just want to give it up for you. I can't
I
wait to go
appreciate
down to
that.
Belize and visit you, right? We gotta get our
Yeah,
brother to come
hey,
on. Let's
you've
go.
been saying that for the last 10 months.
It ain't me. It ain't me. It ain't
No,
me.
you can't.
You know
Don't
what I'm
don't shift
saying?
the blame.
Remember,
Hey,
remember,
I
I'm
know,
half blind. I'm half blind.
I know. Belize is a long way from where you at, but I know you'll get here soon. I know.
Yeah,
I know
no
you'll get
doubt.
here soon.
No doubt. No doubt. If I, you know what I'm saying? The easiest thing for a blind man to do is get on the plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All you gotta do
yeah,
is go right to the counter. They take you right to the gangway or whatever they
yeah,
call it, the walkway. But I want to thank you. You want to give any type of shout outs,
Well,
member shout outs? You want to
first,
say hi to anybody, your family, any people, your peoples?
yeah, first, I want to give you a shout out and thank you, man, for the opportunity to be on this podcast with you. Corona is still home to me. Corona is in my heart, man. My brother Rasheen,
Corona, Corona.
Kareem, the whole family, Donna, Sheila, everybody, Eric. That's my family, man. And
Roger.
just the whole
Nice.
NY, just the whole NY family, man. I miss New
Yeah,
York, man, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
free. I'm good. I'm good, man. I just want to again thank you, man. For taking out the time, man, to have me on here. I appreciate that 100.
Yo, love is love, and shout out to Spanish. Let's shout out to Corona, Astoria, Queens. Shout out to Belize,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I can't
Shout out
wait to
to
get there.
Belize. Shout
All
out
right,
to Belize. Yeah, shout out to Belize for sure.
hey guys, again, brother from another mother, Shaborn the God. I want to thank you, man. I am truly blessed, man, to be given this opportunity to do a podcast with you, man.
No
All
problem.
right,
No
guys.
problem. Bro.
Like I said, we're gonna sign off here at Black Half Blind Billionaire, and like I always say, to be continued. Love you guys.